Hello students, today we will learn about data handling and presentation, and this is the second part of our video. In the first part we talked about data, variables, various types of them, then we talked about tally charts, okay, and we talked about pictographs, even frequency table and various problems. Today we are going to talk about dot plots, bar graphs, and then data interpretation, and there will be lots of competency based questions and answers. Okay, so let's start now. So this is your NCERT books, various sections. So collecting and organizing data and pictographs, this I have covered in the part 1, and today we will cover bar graphs and how to draw a bar graph. We will also cover dot plots as well and several other interesting topics as well. So this is our today's video. Okay, now you see, let's first talk about these dot plots and then bar and column graphs. So what are they? You see, numerical and categorical data can be shown graphically using dot plots. Now what is numerical and categorical data? You can see the part 1 of our video. There we have talked about this extensively. Okay, now this type of data can be shown graphically using dot plots, where each value is represented by a filled circle like this. So it is a dot. Also sometimes we use column graphs or bar graphs as well, where the height of each column represents a number. This is important. So in this case, the height of each column represents a number. Now you see, column graphs can be drawn vertically as well as horizontally. We will see various examples of that. So let us start. So let us first consider a survey of students who are asked to choose their favorite color from 5 possibilities, and the results you see can be represented either as a dot plot or as a column graph. Let's see. So first we have the dot plot over here. See, so this is your, so plot means there are 2 axes, so this is a 2-dimensional plot, right? Now 2 axes, the x-axis and the y-axis. In the x-axis you have got different colors: red, green, yellow, blue and pink, and on the y-axis you have got the number of students. Okay, now note that there are no markings on the y-axis, just written that this is the number of students. Okay, so you see, in this dot plot, each dot represents a number. So red, if you see the red color, so how many students chose red color? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So overall 10 students, right? What about the green color? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students. Okay, so you see, this is how you interpret. Now let's see a different representation, which is the column graph. Now this one is vertical. You see, red color again on the x-axis, and this time on the y-axis you see, you can see the various markings, right? 0, 5, 10, and you see 10. So this bar's height is 10. Why? Because you see, there were 10 students. We have seen the dot plot. So the bar here, you see, or basically the column here has height of 10. Now there are many things to observe in this graph. Let us consider them one by one. First is, you see, an even scale for the numerical axis. This is important. You see here the even scale for the numerical axis over here, the maximum one, right? Next is, you see, a title. So favorite color. So this is a title which explains what the graph is about. Next, you see, this is the bar graph, right? Now note that each column has the same width. You see, their width is the same. Here also width is the same. Next, you see, there is a gap between the columns over here. You see, this is the gap, this is the gap, this is the gap, this is the gap. Okay. Next thing, you see a label on the x and y axis. There is a label, some stuff which gives information about the y axis, about the x axis, what is being represented over here. So this is the label on each axis. So y axis label is number of students and x axis label is your color. Okay. And lastly, the category labels for any categorical data. You see, green, red, green, yellow, blue and pink and so on. So this is a nice example for a column graph. So yet again representation, but this time this is a horizontal column graph. So this one is a vertical column graph, and now we have got a horizontal column graph. Okay, the same information you will get from each of them. Okay, now let us do a quick recap of what we have covered. Okay, so you see, we have talked about dot plot. So what is a dot plot? A dot plot can be used to display data where each dot represents one data value. This is important. One data value, each dot represents. Okay, dots must be aligned horizontally so that the height of different columns can be seen easily. See over here, they are horizontal. Okay, here also they are horizontal. See, I mean to say is they are aligned perfectly. You see, they are all aligned perfectly, not horizontal, they are all aligned perfectly, so that we can count them and they belong to, we can see that what group they belong to. Okay, fine. Next is, yes, a column graph. Okay, now column graph is an alternate way to show data in different categories and is useful when more than a few items of data are present. Now we have seen that column graphs can be drawn both vertically as well as horizontally, and in fact the horizontal column graph is known as bar graph. So this one is known as your bar graph. Okay students, now graphs should have the following features. We have also discussed about them. Okay, an event scale. So this is number one, event scale, then a title, then gap, then category levels, then level for each axis. So there are 5 important points which needs to be remembered for drawing a column graph. Okay, good. Okay students, some features I did not discuss, so let me again discuss. Now you see, basically the bar graphs are used to represent unclassified frequency distributions like that. Now the frequency of a value of a variable is represented by the bar. You see the rectangle, and the length I have talked about here, say the length, or you see height, is basically proportional to the frequency. In most of the times it is equal. So here a bar represents the value of, here see, 150, the bar's height, whereas this bar's value is little bit more than 200, but so you see the value is in between 200 and 250. So this height is around 225. You see, so this is how you interpret. Important thing, the breadth of the bar is arbitrary, but the breadth must be same for all of the bars. Okay, and space must be left between them. Okay, and very interesting thing, you see, all the bars must rest on the same line. So if this is the line, so they must rest on the same line. Now related to bar graph is yet another concept, which is histogram. This you will also learn in higher classes. I'm just telling you what's the basic difference. You see, in a histogram this is quite similar to the bar graph, but you see the histograms, it basically groups numbers into ranges. You see, there is a range over here, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, and also there is no gap in the case of a histogram compared to a bar graph. Okay, now this is the number ranges are very important. You will learn about this in your higher classes. Okay, now you see, any numerical axis must be drawn to scale, usually starting from 0. Okay, so there should be scales. They are not arbitrary, and most of the time they start from 0. So this is 0. Okay, now what is the concept of outlier? So this is what we will learn next. You see, an outlier is a value that is noticeably distinct from the main cluster of points. So here you see, this is the data, basically a dot plot, how it looks like. Now you see, most of the data is clustered over here. You see, most of the data is clustered, whereas this one is just away from it. So there is a gap between the most of the data and this single dot data. So this is known as an outlier, and this is where the main cluster of the data lies, and this is the gap between the outlier and the main cluster. Okay, next is mode. Basically you will learn about this again in your higher classes, but I am just giving you a basic introduction. You see, the mode is the most common response. It can be seen in the tallest column. In the graphs above, the modes are yellow and 4. You see, let me show you. See here, so out of all the students, the most probable, you can say, most of the students, they prefer the yellow color. So this is what we mean by mode. Next is the median, which is basically the middle value, when the values are sorted in ascending order from lowest to highest. So if the data is like this, 1, 3, 5, 9, 11, the middle value is this one, 5. Okay, now again a very basic information regarding bar graph. So basically bar graph, we know that it is used to show data. Now to read a bar graph, find the bar you want and read down and across the scale that tells you what number the bar stands for. Say for example, this is the student data for Silla, Abby and Leo. Now what is the bar for Abby? You see, this one is the bar for Abby. It is the longest bar, and it shows that Abby has how many pets at home. There are, you see, this line corresponds to, starts from 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Abby has basically 7 pets at home. So out of all 3 students, Abby has the most pets at home. Okay, so this is the concept of scale that you are seeing over here. Okay, so basically a scale is the set of numbers along the left axis or the bottom of a bar graph, and it tells you about the values, frequency of the data. Okay, next we will consider some very different type of questions on bar or column graphs, okay, as well as dot plots. Now first one is a question on interpretation of a dot plots. You see, some children were asked the following question in a survey: how many pets do you have at home? and the responses are shown in the dot plot, right? You see? Good. Now use the graph to state how many children have 2 pets. Can you tell me? You see, 2 means 2 dots. So how many children have 2 pets? See, now you have to carefully observe. So here you see 2 dots, right? So these 2 dots means, you see, number of children. So you have to read from here. So 2 dots means 2 children. So 2 children have, you see, 3 pets, right? So this is not what we are asking. So the question is, how many children have 2 pets? So you see, if this is the number of pets, you want this thing, 2 pets. How many children? You see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is what you want. So 4 children have 2 pets. Next, how many children participated in the survey? So for that you have to just count all the dots over here, right? Now if you count, you will find that there are total 22 dots. So this means that a total of 22 children participated in the survey. Next, what is the range of the values? Now range, you must remember, is the highest value minus the lowest. This I discussed in the first part, right? Now what is the highest value that you can see over here? Highest is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is this highest? What do you think? No. This is basically, this means number of pets 1, and this is number of children. So basically number of children, so basically 10 children are having 1 pet. Okay, so what is the range of values in this case? You see, the range of values in this case is not regarding the number of children, but instead regarding the number of pets. So here you see, what's the maximum number of pets here? 8, and the minimum number of pets 0. So the range in this case for the number of pets is basically equal to 8 minus 0, which is equal to 8. Okay. So the next question is, what is the median number of pets? Now, how many total number of pets are there? No, students, you don't have to consider the total number of pets, but consider the number of children. So what is the total number of children? 22. Now if you write down this number in ascending order, then you see, then for the median you have to find the middle of 22, which is what? The middle value is 11, right? 22 by 2 is 11. Now, so the value is the average of, so the median value is basically the average of the 11th and the 12th value. So if you start from the 0, how many children has the 11th and 12th children, the values that they have, their average. So start like this from the ascending orders: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the 11 and 12 children, so these are the 11 and 12 children, right? Now they have basically both 1 each, so the median will be average of 1, so basically 1. Okay, so next question is, what is the outlier? Now you see the main cluster of students here, the main cluster of children has between 0 to 3 pets, but this case is very different from the main cluster. Okay, and you see there is only one person here, only one person who has basically 8 pets. So this is the outlier. Okay, next, what is the mode? So for finding the mode, you have to see the highest column. So this is the highest column. Remember, we talked about highest column, and this is just 1. So the mode is only 1 pet over here. So this is how this question is answered. So students, I have marked the answer, median number 1, mode 1, and this is the outlier. Okay. Next we have this question, which is quite an easier one compared to the first question. So basically here you have to construct a column graph given this data. So there are 5 people's heights basically. So we are talking about heights of 5 people. This is what you have. So how you start? The 5 people, so the name of the people will go in the x-axis over here. Tim, Philip, Jessica, Donna, Nairi. Okay, so this is the name, x-axis. And on the y-axis we have the heights. And you start the scaling, remember, start from the 0 to an even number like this. Okay, now in order to find this, you see, first decide which scale goes to the vertical axis. What is the maximum value out of all them? The maximum is here 150, and so the axis goes from 0 to little bit above 150. Say take 160 over here. Next, we have to include all the features, including the axis labels and the graph title. See the graph title. So height chart. Now columns must be of equal width so as not to show bias or it will be misleading, and also there are gaps as well in between. Okay, so this is how we draw this column graph. Next is basically showing bar and column together. So we have to represent the following frequency distribution as a bar graph. Here you see the data is the value of variable x and y is the frequency. Okay, so if you draw like this, so this is the x and this is the frequency. You see the lines have been written. This was not present in the last graph, but you can also do like this. If the values are large, say for example here 150, then you don't draw the lines. But if the values are less, like here the frequency, then you can draw the lines. This will help you to draw the bars as well. Now you can also draw this graph in this way. Here you see, notice carefully, you see this x-axis is over here and the y-axis has gone below. Okay, other than that it is the same, but remember the lines, they will be on the frequency. Okay, so this is how it is drawn. So basically the first graph takes value of the variable along the x-axis and the frequency along y, whereas the second one takes the frequency along the x and the value of x as the y-axis. Okay, this is how we normally do, but this one is also okay. Now yet another example. Here you see we can draw the graph both horizontally as well as vertically, and even you see we can change the order of the categories. See, for example, this is the first graph. This is the first one, animal sighting. So the number of sightings on the y-axis, and here the animal names are there. Next, in this graph, again animal sightings. All three have the same names, animal sighting. But here you see animals are written on the y-axis and the number of sightings is on the x-axis, just like the previous case, this one. Okay, the next one is, you see again animal on the x-axis and number of sightings on the y-axis, and you have just changed the animal name. So here previously antelope started, bear, cougar, dingo, elephant, so it was alphabetical, but this time it is not alphabetical, it is maybe random. Okay, so this is how we can do a various plots. Okay, now this is the next question. In a year 4 class, the results of a spelling quiz are presented as a dot plot. Okay, what is the most common score? Most common score, you have to find the highest column, which is 8. So see, I have also given the answer over here. Next, how many students participated in the quiz? So you just count the total number of dots and you will see that it is 24. Next, what is the range of scores achieved? Again, range of scores, students. So range of scores means highest score minus the lowest score. So here the highest score is how much? 10. And what is the lowest score? You see 2. So 10 minus 2, which is 8. So this is the range 8. Next, what is the median score? See over here, you start from the over here, total how many students were there? 24. So you have to find the value of 12 to 13th value. Okay, so try to find it. See, I am counting over here. See, so this is 1 from ascending order, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. So in between them. Okay, so it is how much? 7. Okay, right. Median score is 7. Next, identify the outlier. Come on, this one. This is clearly different from the group and at this much gap. Okay, so this is the outlier 2. Next, what is the mode, students? That means highest column over here, right, which is 8. See, it is not very hard, it is quite easy. So we have talked about mode, we have talked about outlier. Next, are there any gaps in this set of data? Of course there is a gap. See, this is the gap. The gap is between 2 and 5. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 3 places. So there is basically, this is the gap. Okay, so this is yet another question based on the dot plot, and basically this is very interesting, also little bit harder, on the harder side. Now I have also given the answers over here, you can check it yourself. Okay, because I have already discussed quite a lot of dot plot examples. Okay, and last question is again frequency table and tally marks. Okay, so 30 children were asked to find the number of hours they watched TV program in the previous week, and this is the result. So what you do first, you have to make a group frequency distribution for this table, taking class width of 5 and class interval from 5 to 10. So this means 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, each one is 5. Okay, the width is 5 in total. Now first find the lowest one. What's the value? Lowest one, you see, this is 1, this is the lowest, and the highest is how much? Here 15. Okay, so the lowest is 1 and the highest is 15. So you have to consider, already they have mentioned width is 5 and 5 to 10. So we start with 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20. We don't need after that. Okay, that is, we don't need 20 to 25. Why? Because there is no data over here. Next, you just count. Say for example 0 to 5, how many? So this is 1, next 2, 3, next 4, 5. So we'll do like that, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, next again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is how I am doing. Okay, next this one as well, say again 1. Okay, however, note that in this 0 to 5 you will consider 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So up to 4, not the 5. Although you will be writing like this, but the number 5 will belong to this category, 5 to 10. So we will not consider this one. So this data, okay, this data will go to the next set, right? That means this data will correspond to over here and not over here. Understand? Next question is, how many children watch television for 15 or more hours a week? So what do you think? See this plot? Oh yes, see this plot? The maximum was actually 17, not 15. So 15 or more hours. So only 1 and 2. So only 2 children. They watched for more than 15 hours. Okay. Okay, another question is, the following data shows the number of girls to the nearest per 1,000 boys in different sections of the society. Okay, number of girls per 1,000 boys. So SC, ST, non-SC, ST, backward district, non-backward district, rural, urban. Now represent the above information by a bar graph and write two conclusions that you can arrive from the graph with justification. Now before we draw the bar graph, see the data. Do you see some trend? So what's the minimum value? The minimum is in the urban 910. And where is the maximum? The maximum is over here. Okay, ST. And rural is 930. Okay. So what you can say, see from this data is the maximum 970 and the minimum is 910. So this you can say that number of girls per 1,000 boys is maximum in the ST category, max, and minimum in the urban. Okay, so this you can say. Okay, now let us draw the bar graph. Okay, so this is how the bar graph looks like. See, there is a break over here. You see this thing, the break means you don't have to scale from 0 to 910. You do a break like this. This is known as line break. You draw like this, sometimes like this. So line break means you don't have to write everything over here. And why are we doing this? You see the data. The data starts from 910 to 970. So what is the point in starting from 0 and writing everything up to 910? So we don't do that. Okay, we just write 0, they do a line break, and then we start from 9, 10, 20 and so on up to little above 970, which is 980. And you see, you write down the various categories, SC, ST, non-SC, ST, and then you write the sections of the society, number of girls per 1,000 boys. Okay, so this is a bar graph. A very important thing is missing over here, which is the title. So you have to write that this is basically number of girls in each section of society. So this is basically the title. Okay, fine.